And we are live once again. It is the Field of 68 Best Bets podcast and Best Bets live stream. And there he goes.
I'm back.
This is how it goes, Kellen. This is how it goes every single morning. Every single morning.
What if something happens? It can't be all the way over there.
Anyway, the guy you see that keeps jumping out of the screen is the one and only Jeff Goodman. And we are thrilled to be joined today by Kellen Sampson, coach on the Houston staff. Kellen, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Hey, doing well. Good morning, guys.
What's up, man?
Are you ready for this? Are you excited? Are you itching to kind of play this game? It's the Final Four, man.
Yeah, it's obviously it's different because you never went home, but in some ways that's good. You didn't get our kids. I don't think. I mean, the bubble is kind of the buzzword. They've been in a bubble, and so we've actually been able to keep our paws on them, keep our hands on them. Kind of been able to mentally and emotionally kind of keep them governed a little bit. Sometimes when you play these huge attention-drawn games and then you go home, boom, you lose them. But here in the bubble, it's kind of strange. You win this huge, massive game. There's no massive crowd waiting for you at the hotel. There's no additional hoopla. You just go, okay, well, hey, film at 8:30 tomorrow morning. We'll see you guys then.
Like you said, though, they don't get their heads blown up.
No. And there are some definite advantages to playing this year in the bubble. There's some definite drawbacks. Most notably, there are no haircuts inside the bubble. I'm running extremely low in toothpaste. Some other key essentials have definitely missed them.
Got to do what you got to do.
So,
hey, are you at all like is this storyline about your dad and redemption? Is this too much, Kellen? Is this like overdone where you're sick of hearing about it and it should be more about your players? Or do you understand where we're coming from with this and you embrace it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, again, you wish it was all about your players. You wish it was all about this moment. They got 4 years to do this, or 2 years or however long they're with you. This is their one shot. And the hope for us is that, my dad's going to keep having multiple stabs at this thing. Obviously we're not reckless enough to think that, not realize how magical this is for him. He's been doing this 32 years and he's been twice, but hopefully we've built the program to where this isn't out of reach again. But I certainly get it. It's the first time that he's done it. It's in a state that he obviously has a lot of history with. And for a lot of the country, I think people understood that what we were building, we were, okay, hey, Houston's cool, they're pretty good. And then boom, dang, Houston's really good. And you can get to a Final Four. And so maybe it's the first time that people have been able to write about him or have emotion about him again. And so we're not oblivious to that. But like you said, we wish it was about our kids.
Yeah. So when you guys first got to Houston, the arena that you were playing, was it the Hofheinz Pavilion? Wasn't exactly the greatest facility in the world. I've always kind of felt like Houston was a place where if you were able to tap into some of the talent within that state and within that city specifically, it's something that you could really kind of grow. So do you feel like you've gotten to where you wanted your goal to be when you first got this job?
Yes. When you took it over, but how bad the facilities were and the fact that it was a program that needed to be built, had pretty good bones, but needed to be built. Was the reason he got excited and took the job. I don't know if especially with what had happened at his previous stop in college, if it was already built, if he would have been as excited. But the bones of this job were really good. There was a commitment from the administration. Mac Rhodes, believe it or not, who's now the AD at Baylor, was the athletic director who hired us. And he was adamant and extremely genuine and forthright that their facilities weren't where they needed to go and weren't where they needed to be, but there was a commitment to get there. And it was some blind faith on my dad's part to trust him and trust that it would happen. He had to throw a couple tantrums, for lack of a better word, in order to kind of keep making sure it happened. I mean, there was supposed to be a construction fence on about our facility pretty early, and it wasn't. And he went bonkers. I mean, just went bonkers. And I'll be daggummed, in a week there was a construction fence up there, and so the bones of the job were good because, like you said, the community is so talent-rich at basketball. They care about basketball in our community. They didn't always care about Houston basketball, but the kids play basketball at a really high level in Houston. And then the people that were in leadership positions gave us a chance to be great. And 7 years later, here we are.
I'm going to need a scouting report on your dad's tantrums right now that you brought it up.
Oh, man, he is. And again, I've gotten there are varying levels of intensity. It's, hey, did I rent his golf clubs out to some neighborhood kids while he's recruiting mad? Did I trade a little paint with his car and I'm trying to cover it up?
You did it all. Let's face it, Kellen, you did it all when you were younger.
I had, people say like, you only have an older sister. Hey, I had like 100 older brothers. I was hanging around locker rooms since I can remember. And so, letting those knuckleheads just kind of influence me, and they'd kind of say something. I'm like, yeah, hey, that must be pretty common. Huh, that's not common. So I had a little bit of a wild streak, but, my dad, I call him Chief. Chief is he runs so hot, so fast, and he's got this huge bleeding heart. And so when he's mad, he is mad. But he forgives in drop of a hat. He's not a slow burn. That man can go 0 to 60 really, really quick.
All right, so I was watching you guys. I've known you a long time, since you first broke into the business. And when you guys got to the Final Four the other night, I was watching that embrace. And I'm not just saying this, man. Like, that was one that I almost started crying just watching you guys. And again, I know what you guys have both been through, right? I know what your dad went through, in 2008 and how hard it was for you. And to get back when you never thought he'd get back here at that point. You never thought he'd even get back in college basketball. Like, what did that mean to you? Like, how emotional was it?
I think I was almost surprised by how emotional it was. We're a basketball family. This is what we do. My sister's on staff. We're all 1,000% immersed in basketball. And so we had an extreme understanding and appreciation of what the Final Four is. This is not, we didn't win the Rainbow Classic. This wasn't, a big non-conference road win, at Texas A&M. This was the Final Four. It's the ultimate college sport, spectacle, as big as it gets. And I know what it means for a coach to have taken his team to a Final Four. He's now taken 2 different programs to a Final Four. And I knew how big of a moment it was for him and his legacy and how it starts to redefine kind of him. And look, we got told no a lot at Houston. We got told that people just don't care about Houston basketball. It's not that big. You're just not that big of a deal.
Pro sports town.
And it's not just a pro sports town. Houston's a superstar town. Now, at one point in time, we had Chris Paul, Russell Westbrook, J.J. Watt, Deshaun Watson, and the gaggle of Astros who won the World Series. It's really hard to carve out a niche in our city, and we did, and we'd become something locally, but then nationally we just hadn't quite gotten there, and to have finally gotten there after, I said this the other day, but people put a period after my dad's name. They didn't write a comma. They said Kelvin Sampson. They said whatever they said, period. They didn't bother to include that he would write a postscript. There was no PS. There was no, indentation, no next paragraph. It was a period.
Very true.
And for him to put his own comma next to his own story and just keep writing, that hug was the culmination of just belief.
I want to ask you about Quentin Grimes and the development that he's had and the growth that he's had since he got to that program. We had him on the stadium show that we do. What was it, 3 weeks ago, Jeff? And
he doesn't know anything about hockey, Kellen. Nothing about hockey.
There's nothing about hockey, but I think it's a great story for kids that may not necessarily reach what they want for their first destination. He was supposed to be a one and done, ends up having to transfer out of Kansas, ends up with you guys, has an All-American season, back on the NBA radar. I think it's a great story of keep working hard, right? So I'm just kind of like, what has the process been like for him since you guys got him, and how rewarding has that development been?
I think it's just a credit to fit. We were at a spot, and I don't know if Kansas didn't need him to be successful. They were hoping he'd be successful, obviously, but they didn't need him to be successful. Coach Self's built a program that isn't reliant maybe necessarily on one guy being successful. He didn't have rock star success throughout his freshman year. Obviously, he had the big night. I don't know if there was a commitment and a really belief to just kind of ride it through with him. We had to. He's a Houston kid that came home, that was built to be something really, really significant. There was a crazy belief of us in Quentin, and we had to make it work. I'll give Coach my dad a lot of credit, but Coach Quantis White gets deserves every ounce of credit for reestablishing Quentin's confidence in himself, reestablishing you're not just a ball player, you're a dude. You're a guy that don't strive to hear your name called. It should be your goal to have Commissioner Silvers call your name. And that was so much of our conversation is, look, that goal isn't out of reach. You're that level of player. That goal isn't out of reach. And so he just took a little bit of a different journey, but he found the right fit for him.
What a great kid. Great kid, too. I'm going to, you know what? Today he's probably got some media availability. I think I'm going to go in there and hit him with some more hockey questions.
You could ask Quentin about baseball. You could ask Quentin about football, and it would be the same thing. That dude is wired for basketball.
So, all right, give us and give the people watching now before we let you go, because you do have a busy schedule today to prepare for the game.
I heard we play tomorrow.
I heard you play too. What's the schedule like for you today? Like, give people a quick Cliff Notes version of what you guys have on tap today.
So, it's interesting. They give you times that, like, as a staff, you can work out. So we have like cardio time that you can work out 8 to 9, because then they got to clean it. And then breakfast at 9:30. We'll do team film at 10. We'll depart for the arena at 10:30. We get 40 minutes for a team practice, public practice. Then you got to selected people do media availability, which means I get to get the hell out of the way.
They don't get you, huh? They're not as lucky as us.
Yeah, that's not a bad thing. Then we're back, and then we get like a private practice here at the convention center, which is attached, and you can go an hour and a half there. And then look, we're in our rooms, we're in the bubble. They did a cool thing, and they give you like 3. When you made the Final Four, they set aside 3 game rooms for us. So we've got ping pong, cornhole, and then like 10 different video game setups for our guys. And then the coolest thing, and we've just been killing as a staff, but 7-foot indoor court where like you can play jam basketball. And so it's like in this big old like banquet hall, and they've taped down a floor with 7-foot goals. And so we've just been kind of getting after it. Yeah, it's been pretty cool.
I'm just waiting for the announcement that Dejan Giroux has a sprained ankle because he was playing jam basketball against Kellen Sampson.
Staff has been playing jam basketball.
Who's the best ping pong player on the team?
On the team, I would say Ryan Elvin, one of our walk-ons, is pretty good. But the best player in the program is Hollis Price. He's ridiculous.
Is he that good?
He's one of those guys. Like we'll play tennis or golf, whatever we're doing in the off season. Yeah. It is gross how good he is at everything.
Really?
Yeah, like he's one of the most coordinated human beings I've ever been around. And then he's got this right. I mean, that's why he was an All-American, but he's got the most perfect temperament ever. He doesn't get too emotionally high, never too emotionally low. So, like, if we're playing tennis in the off season, like it's so aggravating because he never gets mad. He never makes a mistake. He never breaks his racket. I mean, I'm like a mini McEnroe, just smashing, mosquitoes in the air because I'm terrible and I'm trying to make Federer shots, and he just sits in the middle of the court and just returns everything and waits for me to screw up. But he's the most coordinated, gifted dude I've ever been around. I've known him since I was 12 years old.
It's awesome, man. It's been fun watching you and your dad accomplish what you have. It really has. I mean, again, we've known each other a long time.
Yep.
I know how hard that was. I know the impact it made on you. And to have him back here, I mean, it's just got to be so cool for you to see that legacy, right? Like, and to see him happy, smiling, and people heaping praise on him. And now saying the shit of like, yeah, impermissible phone calls. Like, what will we do?
It just, this was the, like we talked about, this was a great fit for Q.
Yeah.
Houston was a great fit for my dad. They allow him to be who he is. It's one of the best parts about Houston. It's just a superstar city. In 2 weeks, he's going to be able to walk through the city of Houston and be unrecognized.
I don't know about that. I'm not so sure.
No, but as far as there's just so many mega stars, and there's so many things coming and going, and it's perfect for him. He's not, his ego is not to the point where he needs to be, stroked or interviewed or feel like he's all the hip buzz guy all the time. This job is the most perfect job for him in that regard, and I'm just tickled to death that he found it.
Well, get your workout. You still have 42 minutes left.
No, we had to go earlier, so we'll do breakfast and then we got to hit the road to.
Listen, we appreciate it. Congrats. Good luck. I did pick Baylor to win it all before the season and before the tournament. I have to tell you, they're pretty good. In case you haven't noticed.
Yeah. I saw them for about 10 minutes and whoa, well, I get why they're here.
Yeah, they're good. They're very good. But listen, you guys are tough as shit. You're good too. Let's have a hell of a game tomorrow night. And again, congrats. We appreciate you joining us, and we'll talk soon.
Sounds good, brother.